Support for this program is provided in part by Guido's Fresh Marketplace. Welcome to my cooking show, The Natural Cook. I'm Anna Gershenson. Today we have a special treat, no guests, just me showing you how to eat tomatoes that you pick up at the farmer's market at the peak of their season. Delicious. We have regular tomatoes, we have heirloom tomatoes. My suggestion is that you eat tomatoes that are ripened on the vine because they have most nutrients in them and probably most delicious as well. So today we are making a soup. It's a tomato soup with arugula and pecorino and some delicious croutons that I'll show you how to make. And also we're making a very yummy salad with some heirloom tomatoes, mix of different tomatoes. You can use green and red and yellow for the vibrant colors, and also delicious, sweet, fragrant melon, some hot peppers, basil, and mozzarella. So these recipes come from Joshua McFadden's wonderful cookbook, Six Seasons. And let's start. So we have country-style bread that you will slice thickly. You will have about 4 ounces of bread, depending on how big the slices are. I will make 4 big slices, and you might want to make even more croutons because they are wonderful when you are eating a salad, just for texture and for crunch. And what we do not cut them. We just tear them into pieces. And when you tear them, then you have more of these, surfaces, rugged, that are going to be crisping up. And when you are going to be cooking them, baking them, you don't want to make them really, really hard. You want to have them still a little bit chewy on the inside. And so you might want to munch on them too. If you buy wonderful crusty bread that is sourdough and helps with your digestion when it's sourdough, and we have a wonderful bakery, Mountain Berkshire Bakery, that makes this wonderful bread that I purchased. So what you do, you preheat your oven to 400 degrees. You grab a baking sheet and you place your croutons. You can dress them here, or you can dress them in a bowl. I would prefer to dress them in a bowl simply because it's kind of allowing me for them not to be falling, like going all over the place, and seasoning them. So first you season with a little bit of salt. Well, actually, I'll first drizzle some olive oil. Drizzle a good amount of olive oil, like maybe for this quantity, a couple of tablespoons. You can toss them with your hand, or you can toss them with this wonderful tool, because if you don't want to make your hands messy. So make sure you coat them all, you sprinkle them with a little bit of salt and freshly ground pepper, and you stick them in the oven for about 5 minutes, and then you pull them out, you check on them. You want to move the ones on the outside closer to the center, because on the outside they cook, they would brown faster, and stick them in the oven. And depending on the bread, on the density of bread, you will need maybe 10 minutes up to 20 minutes. Just watch them. Okay, so now we're proceeding with our soup. That onion will go into it. So I'm cutting a little bit of the top here, and then peeling it. And as you can see, I'm not taking off the root, because the root is holding our layers together, and this is going to be much easier for you to slice these layers. And then remember, every time you cut, you actually practice your knife skills. So watch how I do it again. Thinly slice, and my hand, actually, my fingers are preventing the knife from sliding further down and allowing me to make these thin slices. So we're going to slice this whole onion. You need like a medium onion for this. So you're going to saute it together with some garlic and thyme, and then you're going to add your cut tomatoes. So of course, onion is a very aromatic vegetable. It's going to add to the flavor. There aren't too many ingredients in this soup, but every ingredient counts. Okay, so we'll add some olive oil. We'll add, like, generous amount. Tomatoes are actually, all the nutrients in tomatoes are absorbed much better if they are consumed together with the oil. So in this case, we are going to have olive oil. We are going to have also some cheese sprinkled on top. That will be our fat. Okay, so we also are going to use some thyme. I already took it off the stem, but I want to show you. It's much easier to take the thyme off the stem when you go against the growth, away from the top. So it's much easier. Of course, when you come to the top, then it gets soft there, and so you can even use a little bit of stem. Okay, start cooking. All right, I can hear the sound. Our senses are on. So we hear the sizzling. It means it started cooking. All right, now we're not going to chop the garlic. We're actually going to smash it, and then we're going to take it off, this smash it again and add it to our onion and to our thyme. We'll take another garlic clove, smash it again. All right, see how easy it is? And saving time, because everything is going to go into the blender after that. All right, throw this out. And of course, yeah, I'm going to take this all right. We are going to put some salt. Salt always draws out liquid and gets absorbed also. It helps with flavor. It helps with caramelization, with just making your cooking much faster and more delicious. And you can smell it. These smells are wonderful. Okay, now we are going to deal with our tomatoes. So we'll cut them actually into wedges. Don't use this middle part because it's tough. And tomatoes are going to cook very quickly. And we are not adding any water or anything. It's just the tomato juices. And we are using for this 1 medium onion and 2 garlic cloves and 1 teaspoon of fresh thyme. You can also experiment with other herbs if you might like. Rosemary might be good there too. So taking out the wedges. And then, the core. And then we are going to cut it into wedges. See? And then we are going to throw it into our skillet. Let's make sure that we are tossing here, and everything gets cooked and gets its place, rightful place on the skillet. I'll add a little bit more olive oil here. Make sure that you use good olive oil. It really makes a difference, a big difference in your cooking. Okay, so tomatoes are one of the oldest vegetables that we are consuming in terms of when it came to us. They started growing tomatoes like at 500 years BC, and it was, of course, grown by the Aztecs. It's come to us from Mexico. It was a very revered crop. The seeds, they were saying that the seeds were blessed by the gods, and so they were consumed together with beans and together with corn, of course. So tomato happens to be second most grown and most consumed vegetable. So it's really consumed everywhere. And rightfully so, because it is so abundant in nutrients. It has lycopene, and it has beta-carotene, and it has vitamin C, and it has antioxidants. So it's really wonderful anti-inflammatory. It's great for your heart. It's great for fighting cancer. So what you want to do is just cut it into smaller wedges. And you see that here, I don't really want any browning. I see that I started getting a little bit of browning. What you want to do is just to sweat the garlic and onion, and then tomatoes. When we cut them all up, we are going to throw them there. We are going to add some salt, and then cover them, and just let them cook for about 5 minutes so that they release their juices. Okay, so it will be easier for me just to lift it. Okay, not everything is cut. Okay, now it's good. All right, lift it and put the whole thing into the pan. Okay. Okay. You want to salt them. And don't be afraid. You might think that I'm putting a lot of salt there, but I really don't. There are a lot of tomatoes here, and they are all going to absorb this flavor. And without the salt, you really will not be able to taste it all properly. So we are going to cover and let them cook. And in the meantime, we are going to check on our croutons. And the croutons are baking nicely. They're actually going to be ready soon. They are a little bit still soft on the outside. So that's great. Okay, so while these tomatoes are cooking, we are going to be now working on our next salad. And the next salad is with heirloom tomatoes and with melon, like I said to you before. And I'll show you how we're going to clean this melon. We're going to cut it in half, and you are going to just, with a spoon, take out the seeds. And I'm throwing them right away into the garbage, and I can save the juices because they are going to be great in the salad. And then let me put the juices here. Then I'll put it flat, and I will actually cut away. I'll cut away to peel it. And as you can see, this peel is quite thick. The melon is very fragrant. It has also a lot of beta-carotene. It will be wonderful combined with the tomatoes because it will add wonderful juiciness and sweetness. And then we are going to also cut some peppers. So you want melon to be in the slices like this size. Okay. And then your tomatoes. Okay, so you want to be able to eat, to get like a good bite, but at the same time, not to have pieces that are overly big and inconvenient to eat. And as usual, I love my big bowl. So I'm going to move it here and transfer my melon into the big bowl so that when I mix it, it's convenient for me to mix. And with tomatoes, I'm going to now, okay, the melon juice goes there as well. And these, again, you will cut into pieces that are comfortable for you for eating. And these heirloom tomatoes are on farm stands now, so make sure that you go to farmer's market, that they are grown locally, they are grown in good soil. With tomatoes, I recommend that you buy little tomatoes, the cherry tomatoes or grape tomatoes, organic. Regular tomatoes, you can buy non-organic because they withstand better pesticide residues, but also pay attention that they are non-GMOs. It's very important. There is a lot of interesting information now about what GMOs do to us and how the crops that have been genetically modified and sprayed with pesticides that are produced specifically for them not to be affected by these pesticides in terms of killing them, but killing the bugs around them. And these bugs are part of our kingdom, part of our organisms, and we are part of that ecosystem as well. So we have to think, if these bugs die, what it might be doing to our gut. And that's where all our bacteria is, in our gut. So it's very, very important for us to be eating food that is not processed. Actually, Americans today eat probably, like on average, 90% of their food is consumed in a processed form. Okay, so we're going to drop our tomatoes in together with our melon. Let's check on our wonderful tomatoes here. They've been sitting and cooking and softening and giving off their juices. And by the way, you can make a bigger batch and then you can freeze it. And when you take it out in the winter, you will remember this wonderful warmth of the summer when they were growing, and it will warm your soul and warm your stomach. And of course, this soup you can cook cold as well. All right. I'm also pulling out my croutons. All right. Okay, so this is going to be sweet, sour, spicy salad. So we are going to also chop some peppers. These are actually pickled jalapenos. If you don't like peppers that are too hot, you might use pepperoncini, which are milder. It's all up to you, and of course, you want to taste it as well. So we're chopping it. And let me tell you quickly about why I am a fan of buying cookbooks and reading cookbooks, even though a lot of my friends are saying to me, oh, now that there is internet, you can get any recipe anywhere, and who needs cookbooks anymore? However, they sell really, really well. Why? Because when I read a cookbook, I learn so much from the chef or whoever has written the cookbook who is cooking and sharing their experience, their recipes. And this is, for example, Joshua has wonderful advice about how to season salads. And so he's saying that it's very important to start with salting it first, to put salt and pepper. Okay, turn off. Right. And pepper. And then add the vinegar. And then toss it and taste it. Because if you add olive oil at the beginning, then it will coat everything. And then all these seasonings are not going to be able to penetrate into these wonderful, greens, or, you dress greens the same way. So you toss them, and then you taste. You taste. And only then you add olive oil. Okay. So our salad is almost ready. When we plate it, we are going to also put some basil, and you can leave some pieces bigger and some pieces smaller. It's really very, very nice to bite into these pieces of basil. So your dressing goes on top. And that's where the croutons come in so handy, that you can also sprinkle here. Because when you have these softer croutons, so that what happens is that because they are soft, all your juices get soaked in. And then they pick up these wonderful juices with a lot of flavor and nutrients, and also have their little crunch. So we are sprinkling some of our basil here. And then a wonderful cheese to go on top of this salad would be burrata cheese that is so creamy. You can also use fresh, soft mozzarella, and this is what I got for you today. And then don't cut it, just rip it with your fingers and put it all over. And so see how beautiful it looks, all these wonderful colors. And you might want to drizzle a little bit more of your olive oil. And this salad is ready. Okay, now we are going to place our tomatoes into the blender. Okay. Okay. We'll just puree it. And then we will add some sriracha and season it to see how it tastes. And after that, we can serve it with torn arugula. And make sure that you don't use tough stems on arugula. So this skillet is not really very conducive because it's big. But you can transfer it into a smaller bowl, which I should have done instead of struggling here. But it's OK. I'm almost done. See, you learn things and observe things as you're doing something. That's a good thing. That's why it's good also to invite your children into the kitchen so that they can learn with you and learn on your mistakes. OK. So let's process our soup. A little noise. Okay, it's done. We are going to take our serving bowl, make it clean. And then we are going to start tasting. Nothing is served without tasting. Okay. These tomatoes are so flavorful. They already, it's like delicious without me even adding anything. As you've noticed that both of these are kind of on the spicy side, both preparations. I'll add a little bit of sriracha to give it more spice. Okay. And in terms of salt, maybe I'll add just a little bit of salt and freshly ground pepper, which I adore and adds such wonderful flavor and makes also all the nutrients there more bioavailable. Okay. So now we will pour it into our bowl. Look how beautiful the color is. Trust me, the soup is so delicious. I really want you to promise me that you're going to make it because it's so simple. It's a shame not to make it and not to make yourself and your family happy. So let's sprinkle some arugula on top. So you're getting your greens together with your delicious lycopenes. We will drizzle a little bit of olive oil and sprinkle our croutons on top. And look what a wonderful meal you have. So today we cooked with wonderful tomatoes that are so abundant, and I'm asking for you to buy them. And I know you don't have to be convinced because every season, everybody's waiting for August when tomatoes come to the market, when they're abundant so that we can enjoy them and get all the nutrients which we're not even thinking. We just love that sweetness of tomato and burst of their juices. Let me taste now and see how I like it. And by the way, this is one more thing that we can add to this soup. You can grate some delicious pecorino on top of this, or Parmesan cheese. And I think that nothing could be more delicious than what we prepared today. Absolutely yummy. So thank you for joining me today. And hopefully you'll come to the kitchen and you'll play it again and cook with me. Support for this program is provided in part by Guido's Fresh Marketplace.